Hi. Okay, dear listeners and my lovely students, this is online class and English period. I am Chandan Sai, and today we will learn about from one of the grammatical topic, that is voice. Voice and voice. So first of all, what do you mean by voice? I am going to write the definition of voice. And voice is, it means voice is that form of a verb. Voice is that form of a verb which shows voice is that form of a verb which shows whether the subject of the verb acts or is acted upon. Listen, student. It means voice is that form of a verb which shows whether the subject of verb acts or is acted upon. That is voice. And we are going to kinds of voice. It means here kinds of voice and kinds of voice in English. Okay, and there are two kinds of voice. Number A, active voice, and another is passive voice. So second one is number B, passive voice. So listen, students, what do you mean by active voice or what is passive voice? It means active voice, the subject is the doer. Subject is the doer means karta in Nepali. The subject is the doer and it says what the subject does. What the subject does. That is active voice. It means the subject is the doer and it says what the subject does. That is active voice. Or another, when the doer of the verb is the subject of a sentence, the verb is in active sentence. It means active voice. So that is active. Then we are going to passive. So what do you mean by passive? It means subject is not a doer. The subject is not a doer. Subject is not a doer and it says what happens to the subject. What happens to the subject. That is passive voice. And listen, students, it means first of all we are in one of the grammatical topic, voice. And what is voice? It means voice is the form. It means voice is the form of verb which shows whether the subject of the verb acts or is acted upon. So the verb acts is here active voice, and is acted upon means here passive voice. And the active means here the subject is the doer. Subject is the doer. Listen. Subject is the doer, and it says what the subject does. That is active voice. And passive voice means here the subject is not a doer, and it says what happens to the subject. What happens to the subject? It means in the first active voice, subject is the doer, and passive voice, what happens to the, it means to the subject. That is passive voice. And dear students, in this chapter, we know two things. It means active, how active change into passive, and how passive change into active. So we are going to some, it means rules, I think basic or general rules of, it means active voice or active voice change into passive voice. Then we are going to some of the, it means general things, it means rules. So listen students, first of all I am going to write one of the example in our board. It means the example is here, Monica dropped the class. Listen, AV means, listen, AV means here active voice, and PV means here passive voice. Passive voice. Listen guys, AV example, Monica dropped the glass. Monica dropped the glass. This one is the active voice, and when we change the active voice, the object of this sentence came in the beginning in the passive voice. It means object in the active sentence are changed into the subject in the passive sentence. So the passive voice is the glass, it means object here. Then dropped, it means Monica dropped means here V2. So this one is, it means simple past tense. So dropped, so the glass, the passive voice of simple past tense, it means object plus was were plus V3 plus by plus subject. So here the glass takes, it means the glass take here, it means was, the glass was dropped, V3 dropped, then by, then subject, it means Monica. In this way we can know about, it means active sentence change into passive sentence, or active voice change into passive sentence. It means in this way, it means here subject SUB, and here subject, and object OBJ, and here object. It means some basic rules of the, it means voice. It means the subject in the active sentence are changed into by plus object or agent in the passive sentence, or object in the active sentence are changed in the subject in the passive sentence, and the verb are changed into be plus past participle. Past participle means B3 form. So these are the basic rules, and I am going to write. It means when the sentence are changed from active to passive, we came to know the following things. I am going to write some basic, it means general rule or basic rule. Topic is here, when the sentences are changed from active voice to passive voice, we know the following things. We know the following things. Number first, the first point is here. Listen. The first point is here. The subject in the active sentence. The subject in the active sentence or active voice. The subject in the active sentences, subjects in the active voices are changed. Are here changed into by plus object. By plus object or agent in the passive sentence, in the passive voices. Okay, it means by plus object. This one is the first thing, first general rule, basic rule we can say. Then second, the objects in the active sentence or in the active voices are changed into the subjects. Into the subjects in the passive sentence. In the passive voices. In the passive voices. Then third one, we are going to the third thing. The third one is the verb are changed. The verb are changed into be plus past participle. It means V3. Be plus V3 form. Be plus V3 form. It means past participle. And be means what? It means be means be verb. And be means be verb. So listen, students. So these are the following things, and we know the following things when the sentences are changed from active voice into passive voice. We know the following things. First one is the subject in the active voices are changed into by plus object. It means by plus object in the passive voice, and the object in the active voices are changed into subjects in the passive voices, and the verbs are, it means verbs are changed into be plus V3. Be plus V3, and B plus V3 means what? It means B means be verb, and V3 means the third form of verb, third form of main verb, and be verb. And what do you mean by be verb? So I am going to write in our board. It means be, and infinitive or V1. V1 is be, and V2 was, where, was or where, and V3 is here been, and V4 being, and last one V5, that is am, are. So these are the, it means form of be verb. It means V1 be, V2 was were, V3 being, V4 being, and last one it means V5, that is am, are. So listen guys, so these are the things about be verb, and B plus V3, and V3 means after this verb V3, it means verb 3 used in passive voice. So these are the basic things or basic rules of when active voice change into passive voice. And dear students, then some of the subjects that vague subjects, and vague subjects are not generally mentioned after by preposition. Vague subjects, and I am going to write one of the table in our board. It means subject change into object and object change into subjects, and the flowing table shows the form of subjects and objects. Okay, the flowing table shows the forms of subjects and objects. The table, it means SUB, means here subject, here object. And what are the subjects? And subject change into object and object change into subject in passive voice. So first one is I change into me, then another we, us, then you, same, then he change into him, she, her, it, another they, them, them, then any noun, it means Neelam or Suren, Neelam change Neelam. It means only pronoun change, Neelam. And boys, any plural nouns in the same way. So this is the table that shows the forms of subjects and objects, and that are very necessary, for us. And in the last part, Neelam change into, it means noun, pronoun only change, noun do not change when okay. So this is about the table. Then we are going to one of the general rule, some subjects. Some subjects, another, it means some subjects like people, some subjects like people, we, they, you, somebody, someone, someone, no one, etc. No one, etc. No one, and comma. It means citizens, etc. etc. are not generally mentioned. etc. are not generally mentioned after by preposition. After by preposition. Why? Because they are what? Vague subject. They are vague subjects. And vague subjects, it's is not identified or cleared. So these subjects are not generally mentioned in passive voice. And for example, somebody is knocking the door. Example, somebody is knocking the door, and this one is active voice, and when we change this active voice into passive voice, it means the object first. It means object came beginning of the sentence. The door is object here. The door. Then this one is plus before. It means present continuous tense. So the door and the passive voice of present continuous tense is MR being plus V3. Okay. So the door take is. The door is then being then V3. Knock change into knocked. Knocked, full stop. And knocked by someone, it means somebody, but this one is not mentioned in passive voice. So when in a sentence, when in active voice, some subjects such as people, we, they, you, somebody, someone, no one, citizens, or etc. are not generally mentioned after by preposition in passive voice. In passive. Passive means passive voice. Why? Because they are vague subjects. It means it is not identified or cleared subjects. So these subjects are not generally mentioned after not generally mentioned in passive sentence. Okay, dear students. And then we are going to, it means active voice change into passive voice in different tenses. In different tenses. And our technician's friend is giving signal. Our time is over. So I am going to leave the class. Sometime later I will come among you and we will discuss about that matter.